I apologize about the audio issues on that Jason Aldean video last night or any videos before that. Hopefully I've got the problem resolved. I've been testing it out all morning. I had set a noise suppression filter to block out the air conditioner, which is loud and it's sitting right over there that's on right now. Hopefully we have fixed the problem. If not, let me know. Shoot me an email. All right. Over the last 3 or 4 years, we have seen a lot of people in the mainstream media who have built their entire platform on mythical racism. They have essentially exploited their own community. They have capitalized on the same people they claim belong to marginalized groups. They frame this false narrative that the white man is the most dangerous person to the black community, when the reality is the complete opposite. For a while, the business of mythical racism was booming. Joy Reid goes from some unknown weekend anchor on MSNBC to being a media star in prime time. Jemele Hill goes from being fired by ESPN to receiving millions of dollars for... Well, I really don't know what the hell Jemele Hill's been compensated for. She damn sure wasn't compensated for gracing the cover of Playboy or the woke illustrated swimsuit issue. She damn sure wasn't compensated for her ability to draw an audience. Over the last 12, maybe 18 months, we have seen the business of mythical racism fall faster than Bud Light at a bachelor party where the groom's marrying an actual woman. And the business of mythical racism has failed because it was based on a gimmick. It was based on a lie. Once a lie is exposed and the truth comes out, there's no coming back from that. Once you lose credibility, you are finished. Just look at the path of victims the business of mythical racism has left in its wake. Tiffer the Bongo Sniffer, Tiffany Cross, Donnie and his Lemons, obviously Jemele Hill. Remember the fake Bishop, the Talbert Swan? You guys remember him? Anyone seen the Swan lately? I heard he tried to cohabitate in the nest with Meg Rapinoe and the Sue Bird. Now, of course, Meg has a very strict policy for her nest. No swans allowed. Yesterday, news was released about the latest victim in the fall of mythical racism. Matter of fact, you can make a strong case this man laid the foundation. He was one of the first to collect money that he hadn't earned. Bomani Jones, he was unproven when he signed with ESPN 10 years ago. Well, let me correct myself there. The Bobo was proven, but he was a proven failure. This dude has never been able to draw an audience. Bomani Jones, he was able to build his media career based off of sympathy money. But like I've said many times before, eventually the sympathy account runs dry. Sympathy, or as the shitfucks like to call it, affirmative action. It will get you in the door. It will get you your first contract, and in some cases, your first contract extension. But there always comes a point where you have got to prove yourself, not based on your skin color, not based on your status as belonging to a marginalized group. There always comes a point where you will be forced to prove yourself based on your merit. Unfortunately for Bomani Jones and his dozens of supporters, the Bobo's only proven one thing over the last 10 years. He is the original huge embarrassing failure. Bomani Jones has never succeeded at anything. The only thing Bomani Jones knows how to do is convert oxygen to carbon dioxide. That's it. Local radio in the Carolinas, failure. For some reason, this landed him a promotion to national radio at ESPN. Bomani only failed because the South is plagued with mythical racism. We will put him on national radio in progressive woke cities and the Bobo will succeed. How'd that work out? Affiliates. They could not get this loser off the air fast enough. Bomani Jones actually set the record for most ESPN radio affiliates lost. Almost 100 affiliates dropped ESPN radio because ESPN refused to remove Bomani Jones from the air. ESPN, though, they decided that the Bobo didn't have a face for radio, so they put this disaster on television. Failure. They end up trading him to HBO in return for a supersized cucumber. Now, I never understood this deal with HBO. If people were not willing to watch this huge embarrassing failure on cable, what made anyone think they would pay $8, $9, $10 every month to watch him fail miserably on HBO? The Bobo actually should have been canceled after one season on HBO when he consistently failed to make the top 150 on cable. He was beaten by such legendary shows like The Adventures of Mr. Clean. Several weeks ago, HBO, they announced that they were canceling the woke welfare of Bomani Jones. But that's okay. That was okay. He would still be able to afford top shelf wiener because he was still being paid by ESPN. Bobo, he does not consume the Oscar Mayer. He prefers top shelf Nathan. I hope he's got plenty of stock, hope he's got plenty of supplies because it appears he is going to be rationing out the wiener here in about 4 days. Yesterday, Front Office Sports made the announcement that normal people have been waiting to hear for years. As you guys know, ESPN, they are in the midst of the latest round of layoffs. Now, in the past, the vast majority of people who were laid off by ESPN, they all had one thing in common. They lacked melanin, or, as Joy Reid would call it, they were not POCs. There was no diversity to these layoffs at the network dedicated to diversity. When it was time to trim the budget at the worldwide leader in woke, they looked for 2 qualifications. White, check. Male, check. But this latest round of layoffs, it was a bit different. Over the last few years, ESPN, they have fired all the older white dudes on their payroll. This time around, they were forced to include the believers. This affected people all the way at the top. Father Jalen Rose, for example, he was kicked out of his leadership position at Woke United Methodist. But there was just no way the elimination of woke welfare would affect Bomani Jones, right? ESPN couldn't do that. No! They would be accused of mythical racism. ESPN would be accused of discrimination. How could they justify keeping white men like Chris Russo and JJ Redick on the payroll and eliminating the welfare of Bomani Jones? Perhaps ESPN saw the positive reaction when HBO fired the Bobo. Who knows, maybe the HBO firing was a test. They wanted to see how the public would react to the firing of a huge embarrassing failure. Maybe, just maybe, once ESPN saw that most people could not give a fuck less about Bomani Jones, it made it easier to make their decision. Yesterday, Front Office Sports confirmed that ESPN would not be renewing the contract of Bomani Jones when it expires at the end of this month, meaning the Bobo has 4 more days until he's officially unemployed. Now, this was not only confirmed by Front Office Sports, it was confirmed by the Bobo himself. Front Office Sports, they contacted him for comment. According to the Bobo, my podcast, Right Time to Be a Failure, is the second most listened to podcast at ESPN. I would hate to see the numbers for their other podcasts because viewership numbers on YouTube for Right Time to Be a Failure are lower than viewership numbers on the channel that you're watching right now. And I don't have a multi-billion-dollar media company spending thousands of dollars promoting me. Believe it or not, though, Bomani Jones actually made an excellent point as to why ESPN is firing him. Well, KC, he's not getting fired. They have simply decided not to renew his contract. That's called getting fired. Media companies, they are not in the business of letting people go who are drawing ratings and making money. The Bobo, he even admits this himself. He told Front Office Sports, streaming isn't profitable because there's too many players in the game. There's a lot of money being spent on streaming, and it doesn't generate the returns that you would expect. Let me translate that for you because this is actually an excellent point by Bomani Jones, but he disguises that point as an excuse as to why he's a huge embarrassing failure. I have been telling you guys for years that ESPN is losing money on Bomani Jones. He just confirmed it. When he says streaming isn't profitable because there's too many players in the game, what he's really saying is, I am not able to beat my competitors. I am not able to generate enough viewers to offset the cost of my shitty podcast. Bomani Jones, he would have to generate 3, maybe 4 times the views that he is getting for ESPN to make money on his podcast. ESPN ain't making money with Bomani Jones drawing 20,000 views on YouTube. Now, I can. It's profitable for me, but there's a huge difference here. I'm not paying production. I'm not paying writers. I'm not paying someone to operate the camera or edit the videos. It's just me. ESPN, they have to pay all those people. They have to pay the guest to appear on Right Time to be a failure. I'd be willing to bet ESPN's lost tens of millions of dollars over the last 10 years on Bomani Jones. They lost money on radio, lost money on TV, and they've lost money on his podcast. Like I have said many times before, the career path of Bomani Jones was not sustainable. I knew there would come a time when he would be expected to perform, and all of us normal people, we also knew Bomani Jones is unable to perform. Question is, what happens now? Where does Bomani Jones go from here? I'll be honest with you. I think his career in the mainstream media is over. I know the Bobo plays the butt bongo with Dan Le Batard. I know they're bosom buddies, but if ESPN can't make money off Bomani Jones, what makes you think Meadowlark Media will be able to make money off of him? Bomani Jones, he could be working for free and he would still find a way to lose money. The only way I see Bobo surviving in the mainstream media is if he gets hired at CNN. Obviously, his only job would be to ensure that CNN finally sinks to the bottom of the woke sea and goes out of business. Bomani Jones would actually be perfect for that job since the only thing he has ever succeeded at doing is failing. This dude's career, his media career, is over. I could actually see Bomani Jones being arrogant enough to think that he can make it on his own. I could see him taking Right Time to be a failure and starting his own YouTube channel. But the thing is, he's already tried that before. The result was the same. Huge, embarrassing failure. It is over. Bomani Jones was given 10 years to build a platform. If you can't build an audience in 10 years with the biggest company in sports media behind you and promoting you, this business ain't for you. Does this make Bomani Jones the odds-on favorite to retain his crown as the huge embarrassing failure? Will the Bobo win the first annual Hef Awards? Also, where do you think he goes from here? Will another mainstream media company be willing to lose money on Bomani Jones by giving him another chance? Or is the media career of Bomani Jones finished? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe. You guys know the drill at this point. I appreciate all of you who reached out to me about the sound. I'm still trying to perfect everything with my new setup, all the new hardware and software. Hopefully the audio on this video was better than it's been. If not, I'll keep tweaking it until it's perfect. Please, though, shoot me an email if you notice quality issues here on the channel. I try to check all the comments, but the comments, they can just get lost sometimes. Email address, btlkc84@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at kc_btl84, and I'll see you guys later.